Hey everybody, and welcome to everythingvoiceover.com. My name is Justin D. Torres. Today, we're going to be talking about voices.com. And last week, I put out a review of The Voice Realm, which is another great site to be a part of. But I realized that it must have been at least 2 years since I've done a review of voices.com, and I'll actually do a review of Voice 123 within the next week as well, because I think you need to review sites at least once every few years, because some things definitely get improved, some things change, and it's a good perspective to have. All right, so without further ado, here is the review for voices.com. Okay, so now for those of you who don't know, Voices.com is a pay-to-play site. They charge a subscription fee, and for that subscription fee, yearly subscription fee or monthly subscription fee, they provide you with auditions for jobs that exist, and if you get the auditions and you are awarded the job, it is your job to record it, edit it, and send it out to the client. In some aspects, some jobs are done in studio, and you have to be in New York City or LA to do it, but those are few and far between. And even me being in New York, I've seen the amount of jobs I've seen that were in studio. I could probably count on my hand, and they know I'm in New York. So anyway, let's go over the pros of voices.com. These are the big things that have always been consistently good and actually have been really helpful to keep them going. And the number one is the number of jobs. Consistently, this has been the number one site that gives you the most amount of auditions on a daily basis. Now, I can only speak for young adult male, and I do also put myself as the ability to do middle-aged male, so that extends the amount of jobs that I get that I'm offered. But it's definitely huge. I mean, I have put in about 10,000 auditions in my 5 or 6 year span at voices.com, so I definitely have had the chance to get a lot of jobs, and really that's really what you want from a pay-to-play site, is the opportunity to audition. The other thing they have is that these jobs actually exist. A lot of them. There may be a percentage of the voices.com jobs that actually fall by the wayside and don't get finished, but a lot of jobs do. And the good thing about voices.com is if you look in the answered section, you can see which jobs are being finalized. You can see which jobs are being worked on. You can see which jobs are being completed, so you know where your audition stands. And that's another great thing about the voices.com website, is that your auditions show when you're being looked at. It has an ear icon if you've been heard, a thumbs up icon if you've been liked, and if you haven't been heard, then you didn't jump on it as quickly as possible. Another big pro is that you're actually, with this amount of auditions, if you just pull 1 to 2 jobs, maybe 3, you'll be able to make back your money per year. And if you're a newer voiceover actor, you want to kind of keep your expectations pretty low, but you do have an expectation that as you get better and as you take classes, as you audition more and more, that you will get better and that you will eventually get jobs. But if you give yourself a year, I guarantee that if you work hard at it and you're constantly improving and you have a decent enough system and you're actually trying to improve and make improvements to the sound, and you're trying different things, you can and definitely very easily make back the money that you put in for the subscription fee. The other thing that's really great about voices.com is their customer service. I have dealt with them individually. I have people that are there that have represented me when talking to clients, and they've been very helpful. Actually, more recently, one of the clients really liked one of my auditions, and they wanted me to try some extra stuff to try out, and I tried that, and then when they came back to me, they were like, "Oh, we want you on 3 or 4 more of these." And I was like, great. And meanwhile, I'm talking to the voices.com person, and he's kind of the middleman for that. And I gave them a price of what it would be for like multiple versions of this. And the voices.com guy came back and he was like, you know what, I think they're willing to do more for it. So I'm going to try and get a little bit more for you. And, admittedly, the reason why they're trying to ask for more is because Voices.com gets a larger cut if you get a larger cut. But at the same time, that's great. It's great. It's great to hear when they've been dealing with a client and they're like, yeah, they really like you. They have a budget that's available and they can definitely pay you more. That's good. That's a great thing. Another one of these really great aspects of Voices.com, and I will go into the cons after this. It's not all just flowers here, is they have a PayPal escrow service. So what happens is the client puts money into an escrow service at Voices.com. So Voices.com has the money. They have the money and it's there. So if you are awarded the job, you will be paid for it. You will eventually get paid for it, and it'll be through PayPal. And you don't have to worry about invoicing a client. You don't have to worry about them saying, I actually had a voiceover client say, oh yeah, I'm not getting paid by this guy, so you won't get paid yet. That doesn't happen with Voices.com. You get paid once you're awarded, and if you provide it in a timely fashion, you will get your money. Another interesting thing that happened, and most people may not know this who are actually on Voices.com, is that they actually changed it so you can only put down your price, how much you want to be paid. Because it used to be that you could put in the client price, and so if you put in $100, your price would actually be $90. It recently switched, so you only put in your price. So if you put in your price of $100, the client pays about, like, I don't know, $110 or something like that, maybe $120. So inadvertently, the lower end of the spectrum was $90, and now the lower end is $100. So if you're working those smaller end jobs and you're just trying to make your way and trying to get more repeat clients and trying to get your voice out there, it's even better. Voices.com is now at a true 100 minimum price, which is great. They also have a review system, which is spectacular, and those are reviews not from the auditions, because I know Voice123 reviews your auditions, which is horrendous. I think that's not a good thing to do, and I'll probably say that in the Voice123 review. But Voices.com has a review system of if you've worked with the person. So if you worked with the client and they were great and they were awesome and you were great and awesome, you can have 350 5-star reviews, which is what I have right now. It's just, you just work with the client, get it done quickly, and have fun and be professional, and you could have 5-star reviews with all your jobs. It's very easy. I've rarely had a client that was even remotely frustrating to be around or frustrating to interact with. Even if they were a little bit picky, I understood why. And I understood that they needed to get something done, and I've never felt like any client was trying to scam me or trying to get out of things. Every client I've worked with at Voices.com has been spectacular. Now let's go into the cons of Voices.com, and there are a few of them, but they are interesting. There are no end date on jobs, so if you are awarded a job, what ends up happening is, like, maybe if 3 months you'll get a message from a client saying, oh, we'll keep you posted on pickups, and 2 months later they're like, hey, we've got some pickups for you. And unfortunately, that's not the best thing. You want to have an end date on jobs so that it gets done so that you're not on hold for jobs forever, so that you get the payment done, because when you do the job, you should be paid for the job relatively quickly. So there are no end dates on jobs, and you kind of have to deal with that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to, if there's a client that won't give you pickups, and it's 3 months after the fact, and you're like, hey, you should probably release the payment. They have every right to say, I'll release it, but can you do the pickups if we need you? And you have to be like, yes or no. I mean, it's up to you. Number 2, the big con is competition. You may be up against 80 to 100 voiceover artists. It might have even grown now. I mean, Voices.com is constantly growing, so the competition gets worse and worse. And every now and then I personally bring my voiceover rate down just because maybe it got a little slower, and then I'm suddenly in a mix with a lot of other newer people. But competition is bad, but competition is also good because I mean, like that gets them more jobs too. I mean, we know that the jobs exist. That's great. Number three is the unfortunate con that the faster people usually win out. If you're at home a lot and you're able to take on auditions, and if you treat it like a job, you're probably going to get the top 20 spots. And if you are a good voiceover artist, you will get those jobs. And unfortunately, it doesn't really lend itself to the working person. So if you're working 9 to 5 and you come home and you're tired and you just want to kind of run through your auditions, a couple of those auditions may be just thrown away because unfortunately you're not the first person on it. It definitely makes the grinder aspect of voiceover, it kind of works for the grinders, and that's unfortunate. The other con is a platinum membership option, and this is from what I've heard, because I don't have the platinum membership option, but from what I've heard, it's a multi-$1,000 a year option of Voices.com, and they limit it to around 100 people, and it's supposed to get you more jobs and higher end quality auditions. And I've heard from a couple of people that had tried it, that it was very lucrative and that they did do well, and that it's good that they reserve it for the higher echelon people who are doing very well. But it is kind of like weird that like certain jobs are only going to 100 people, and we're all good voiceover actors and we all want a piece of that pie. But it's an interesting thing to look at, this platinum membership option, and I think of it as a con now because I feel like I feel like it's way too much money. But who knows? Maybe eventually. I know they called and offered me the platinum membership 2 years ago, and now I'm at that point where I could probably be more interested in it. But it's just a weird thing to have. And I'm not 100% sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's great. I don't know. Another con is the price. Unfortunately, it's $350 a year, and they also have a monthly price, and I believe it's $50 a month, so I'm not 100% sure. But the price is pretty steep, and I recommend people doing the yearly option because you want to, you don't want to just do a really hard month. You want to be able to create a system where you're practicing over and over again. So I do recommend people do the yearly, but I'm afraid that this is one of the few higher end investments that should pay for itself. You have a microphone, not necessarily going to pay for itself. A microphone isn't going to get you jobs. Going to a voiceover class, most of the time will not get you jobs or agents. But at least this one, you're going to get auditions for jobs, and it's the most direct way to get jobs that I've found in voiceover. The other con is the release payment option. After you do a job, you have to tell well, you don't have to. Sometimes the clients do it themselves, but you have to tell a client to release the payment. And, like they've already done the job and everything. They've already uploaded the stuff. The video's done. They just didn't do that last step. And that last step is pressing a little button that says release payment. And it kind of feels weird for us as the voiceover actors to go in and request a release of a payment because it feels like, hey, we did the job, just so you know, you need to pay me. But to be honest, comparing that, this is a small con compared to other voiceover sites where you have to actually invoice them and go after them and wonder where the check is, or if their check was sent to an old address and then you have to go find your roommate and knock on his door in the middle of the night and being like, did you get a check for me? Have you been holding it? It's much easier, but it is a little weird. Like I said, it's similar to the thing of like, there's no end date on jobs. You put an end date on jobs, you automatically get the payment. That'd be a much better system. But like I said, it's actually very nitpicky because I'm going to do a Voice 123 thing, and I've got some real things to say about them. The other thing that's a con is that they've had this little addition put onto their voice auditions, and occasionally it's almost like a default option, which is a shame. That they don't want you to slate your name. They do not want you to slate your name. No slating, please. Anyone who slates will not be heard, and that just angers me in a lot of ways because, it's our names. It's who we are. It's what we're selling. And it's also an option of saying, it's also a tool. Like if I say, hey, it's Justin D. Torres, suddenly my voiceover sounds a little bit better because I'm a happy guy. But some of them have said no slating of the name. And I recently, if you look at everythingvoiceover.com, I recently had an article, not recently, but 2 or 3 months ago. And I talked to voices.com about this, and they said that people were actually sending like, hey, it's Justin D. Torres. I'm from New York City. This feels like a really good audition, so I'm going to go ahead and do it like really low or something like that. Like some people were slating their name with like a couple of sentences or a paragraph about themselves. And that's, I think those people should be messaged and tell them not to do that rather than this blanketed slate of no slating of name. I think those people need to know not to do this, and it shouldn't be because like some people don't use that option of no slating of name, so those people are still getting the full paragraph lines of Shakespeare from these randos. So yeah, the no slating of the name just pissed me off a little bit. So I definitely don't like that, and I've expressed my viewpoints to Voices about that. Still, I have to say, this Voices.com is the #1 pay-to-play site to be a part of. It's a lot of jobs. I'd say #2 would be VoiceRealm, and that's not because they sponsor the podcast. I think VoiceRealm has a couple of things that really help, and that's the actual end date on jobs. They have a good minimum, which is exactly what Voices.com has, and they have like an escrow service. So they're using exactly the same things that are amazing for Voices.com, but I still think Voices.com has much more jobs, much more options. A lot of different types of jobs are coming through Voices.com, and you have a legitimate chance. You only have to do, I mean, there's maybe 300, 400 auditions a year. Pull 2. I think you can do it. I really think you can do it. And there's all types of jobs. Now, this is coming from me. The most jobs that I've done about 10,000 auditions there, and the minimum payment for Voices.com is better than any other minimum payment out there from all the websites that I've been a part of, and there might be a missing pay-to-play site. And feel free to message in the video comment section if you got a couple of ones that I should try. But I've tried quite a few of them, and some of them were just downright rip-offs in my opinion. Even the free ones. The free ones are even worse. Oh man, the free ones. Oy. Yeah, and then also their customer service is great. Voices.com's customer service is great, and their PayPal escrow service works just about every time. I've never had to ask for money except for asking for a release of payment. So this is very similar to other reviews that I've done for Voices.com, but I thought I should do it again just because, I think people should, if they're starting out, if you've got your home studio started out and you can make high-quality voiceover stuff, give it a shot. It's definitely worth it. I've met people who just started out and they started using Voices.com. Use that as the ability to build money to put back into your voiceover training. I mean, money's the one thing that runs everything, and if you can get it quicker, you're going to be doing better. I feel like if I did 10 jobs for Voices.com, and I feel better at voiceover than most other people who have done it, and I can go into auditions in New York City, and I could feel good knowing that, hey, I may not get this job, but I've got 10 jobs at home waiting for me. I mean, that's great. So, yeah, if you're a new person, I'd recommend going to Voices.com, signing up for them there. They're really great site. Yeah, stay tuned. We're actually going to be doing a couple of more reviews of other pay-to-play sites. So I hope this was very helpful for you guys, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thank you for coming to everythingvoiceover.com. Yeah, feel free to follow us on Twitter at everythingv, and go to our YouTube channel and check us out there, or check out the podcast. We're doing some really great stuff on the podcast that I'd hope people are checking out. All right, take care. Thanks. Bye.